Hello, you guys. Welcome. I am so excited, yet very nervous all at the same time. But I'm glad I'm finally doing this and I'm taking a leap of faith. I don't know what's going to transpire from this, but I do know it is what I'm meant to do. It's my next step. So, with that said, let's get started. My name is Ashley Miller, and this is my new podcast, Bridging the Gap. And to just get straight to the point so you guys know why we are all gathered here today, I think we can all agree that when you feel yourself changing, transitioning, or maybe you just have this insane calling in you where you just feel like you're meant for more, whether that is a better job, a better relationship with yourself, fitness goals, a better body, but you maybe don't know what that is or you don't know how to get there, bridging the gap, trying to get from point A to point B, where you no longer feel like your old self, but you haven't quite gotten to your new self, and figuring out all the missing parts in between, that is confusing. And it can be isolating, depressing. You feel lost and you just don't know what to do because also, besides the fact of not really having much of a direction, because when can we ever really see a clear path ahead, right? We can never just predict that, but also ourselves. We ourselves can be our biggest blockages because of limiting beliefs, fears, trauma that we haven't worked through either from childhood or adulthood. There's a lot that can be the reason why we don't get to where we want to be, but we can choose to change that. And that is why I'm here today creating this podcast, because that is what I'm doing for myself. I could sit in my career that I have already and stay there because it's comfortable, it's what I'm used to, or I can get uncomfortable and surpass these fears that I also have. Because I'll be honest, I've had this idea to do this podcast since June. It's November. That should that should speak for itself. I have had to really get myself together to finally do this, but I do also believe in divine timing, and I don't think I would have been able to do this properly until now either. So I'm fine with the fact that I've waited, but I've had my own fears that I've had to surpass, and I with each podcast I post where we are talking about those deep, dark, dirty little things that we all need to get through and share my story and be real and raw with all of you. We can do this together. We can make something of ourselves. All I ask is that you come open-minded or, maybe ruffle some feathers, some feelings, and maybe talk about a little controversial topics from time to time. But, the only way to become the best version of yourself is to get uncomfortable. The only way out is through, which leads me to the first thing that we are going to talk about is getting comfortable with getting uncomfortable. No one likes to be uncomfortable. Let's just be so for real with ourselves. When we go through things in our life that cause us immense pain, we want to shove it into a corner that we never have to look at and we never have to address because it's just too much to deal with and it's too painful. Obviously, we're human beings. We don't want to sit in pain. However, it is not going to go away. It's going to be there. It's going to sit there in your subconscious and it's going to project onto areas of your life, whether you like it or know it or not. It's happening. And for me, in my life, I recognized, especially in 2017, which was a really bad year in my life, I didn't like who I was. I didn't like the things that I was doing. I was not a good person in a relationship. I wasn't great with my family. I was screwing up in my job, all of the things, you name it, I was going through it. It was the year I got my DUI. I was getting slapped by God, the universe, to wake up, whatever you believe in. And going from there, I just kind of recognized that if I wanted more for myself, I needed to work on myself. Otherwise, I was going to end up in a place I did not want to be. And in 2020, when COVID happened and we were all at home in our rooms with our own thoughts and emotions, I couldn't escape mine. And I went through a lot as a kid. I'll be honest, I don't want to air out my family's dirty laundry. But sorry, mom and dad, if you're listening to this, but a lot happened with that as a child. And I had a lot of built up resentment and pain that I needed to work through. And I didn't really know what to do or how to do that, but I knew that it was kind of time. If I'm going to sit in my house, I might as well do something to work on myself. And I also had some pain, a lot of pain built up from my grandmother's passing. She was my best friend growing up and she meant the world to me, but I, like I mentioned before, shoved that into a corner where I did not want to touch it. I did not want to address it. It just didn't exist. But I couldn't do that anymore. I needed to face it. And one of the ways that I started my healing journey, and I honestly don't even really know how I figured this out, but I think the first journal entry I ever did was writing a letter to my grandmother, pretending as if I was going to send it to her, but obviously I didn't. And I wrote out everything that I had regretted around like her passing, 'cause I refused to go to the hospital. I didn't want to see this reality of her being sick. I just wanted to pretend like it wasn't happening and I wasn't around for when she passed. And I had a lot of stuff, yeah, just built up in me of regret and wishing I was there. And I wrote everything out. And I remember just reading it out loud. And that was the most I think I had ever cried until that point. And it was crazy, this sense of relief that I had after, of just feeling like almost like a weight was lifted off of my shoulders. Not completely, because Lord knows I journaled about her a million times after that. One journal entry is not going to fix it all. It's not. But it it did something for me where I finally addressed some of the pain that I had been feeling. And for a long time there, I couldn't even talk about her without crying. I couldn't get a sentence out. And now I'm able to talk about her because I really have come so far in my healing journey that I can do it. I can talk about her. I love her and I'm so proud of having her in my family, all the above. But yeah, before that, no, I couldn't get a sentence out without crying. And from that point, I started writing letters to other family members that I had a lot of stuff that I need to deal with, pretending as if I was going to send it to them. But with them, because I held on to a lot of pain and resentment, ways that I helped heal, because in healing is also forgiveness too, which is really hard when you've gone through a lot of things. And, I'm going to preface this, we don't always got to forgive everyone. Everyone's case is different. However, in my case, I definitely wanted to turn what could have been, where I could have been cynical. I wanted to turn it into a positive because it would help me let go of it and heal through it. So what I would do is I would write all the things that I felt, that it made me feel, what things had happened, whatever, and then I would turn it into a positive at the end of the letter of like, this is why this happened and it's helped me become stronger in this area, and kind of helped me with like acceptance. And yeah, I don't know, but I would always read the letters out loud and I would cry and I would feel the emotion, and I really recognize like this is healing. Like this is what healing is all about. It's facing those emotions that you have inside of you that you normally wouldn't, and you would pretend like they're not there when they are. Now, not only was I doing the letters, but at that time when I was feeling all the feelings, I was researching more ways to kind of better myself. I had no idea what affirmations were. I remember someone posted on Instagram their affirmations, and I was like, oh, what is that? So I started doing affirmations. I started Googling balancing chakra yoga and doing that every day. I was just trying to bring a lot more light to my life, and it was working. My life started to shift and change drastically because I was really putting my best foot forward and taking the initiative to do what normal people don't normally do. Most people do not do the work that it takes to become better because it is uncomfortable and it is hard. But I've said this even in my social media posts. Sometimes your comfort zone is not always the easier choice. It's just what you're used to. But when you're willing to sit with things that are uncomfortable, that are painful, and you acknowledge them and you honor them and you work through them, you will become better. That is how you become stronger. That is how you become more resilient and more self aware. So that way you are capable of showing up in other areas of your life better. If you want that fantastic, amazing relationship, you also need to show up in that way. You can't just come in with every toxic trait in the book and be like, oh, well, I want this, this, and this, but you have not worked on yourself. It doesn't work like that. And not only that, but it will help switch your mindset with a lot of things. Instead of looking at life like this big dark cloud and always being so negative, you'll start to think more positively. You'll start to appreciate, the hardships because they're what's made you stronger. It's what's made you better. Like, seriously, if I hadn't gone through all the things that I have in my life, I would not be who I am today. And I'm really freaking in love with the girl in front of this camera right now. And I can say that and I can mean that because I've honored myself and I've taken the time to work through a lot of the things that I've been through. I'm not perfect. I still have insecurities. I still have things I work through by all means, but I do the work because I know that all the things that I want in my life, I need to be this person that's equipped to handle it. If I want that amazing, fantastic, healthy relationship, I also need to be healthy. If I want that dream job, what I'm doing right now, I need to be confident in myself. I need to believe in myself. It's hard to do that when you have all these things inside of you pulling you down. So instead of looking at what you've been through in your life as, oh God, like life just sucks and it's just always going to be like that and this is just it. No, flip it. Find the good in the bad because it's there. No matter what you are faced with, there is a lesson, there is an area of growth that you can take advantage of no matter what. But that is your choice to turn your pain into power. You choose how you live your life. You're the one that wakes up every day and makes the choices in front of you. And you can either choose to maybe go in the uncomfortable route, but work towards being that strong, resilient, badass human being you're meant to be, or you stick to your comfort zone and you're stuck. I mean, you're in the same place that you're complaining about right now. Pick your hard. They're both hard, right? But one at least gets you somewhere where you want to be. The other, not so much. But yeah, guys, I know that is not always the easiest thing to do. I get it. It's easier said than done. It's just something that has helped me in my life. And if this advice can help anyone out there, I hope that it does. And I would love to hear feedback from anyone that found inspiration in this. Maybe hear your story, hear what you're going through. Maybe if you've dabbled in all of this yourself. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. And I can't wait for next time. See ya.